go. Oh, thank you.
And he gets a bite for the reward.
Welcome to the Critter Cooler Owner's Manual. The Critter Cooler is a patented automatic gravity feed watering station. It comes in 3.5, 5, and 6.5 gallon sizes. The containers are made in the USA of high density polyethylene and are FDA approved. They contain no BPA. They are safe and strong. Animal Wellness magazine has given the Critter Cooler its seal of approval. We're going to show you how to put the Critter Cooler together, the care and maintenance, how to keep the water clean and cool, and some hot tips if you have active dogs or in a daycare situation. Some other parts of the Critter Cooler is the handle, which you'll use with the Critter Cooler when the Critter Cooler is empty. You have 3 O-rings, 1 medium-size O-ring and 2 small O-rings. You have a flat white washer, you have a flat white wing nut, and you have a water valve. The water valve comes apart for cleaning. Here are the ant blockers. They consist of an upper disc and a lower disc. The upper disc has a hole in it, and the lower disc has a little reservoir in it. On the left side you see the ant blockers as they're seated on top of your wheels, and we'll go over how they work. Here's the ant blocker seated on top of the wheel. The only way ants or any crawling insects can get into the bowls are to crawl up the wheels. When the ant blockers are seated correctly, you'll notice that the top disc and the lower disc, there's a little gap in between. And through the hole in the top disc, you'll squirt a little of our ant bath. And ant bath is comprised of soybean oil and sawgrass oil, and that is just a natural insect repellent. It's non-toxic, totally natural. The ants just don't like it. So the ants will not traverse this little gap right here, and that's how we keep the ants out of the bowl. Okay, let's put this together. Get the base unit out, and if you're going to use the side food bowls, get the side food bowls out. Now let's turn it over. Let's add the ant blockers. Okay, let's add the wheels. Okay, we're ready to turn it back over now, but if you've got a slobber saucer with the Critter Cooler, let me show you where that goes. It's going to replace the top 2 discs of the 2 front ant blockers. Okay, we got the slobber saucer on. We'll just turn it over now. The slobber saucer. I'm going to remove the slobber saucer and just continue with the assembly. That's where your medium-sized O-ring goes, on the inside of the base unit. Put the container in the base unit, line up the holes, get out your water valve, and put one of the small O-rings around the water valve, and we're just going to thread it right through into the container. Small O-ring, flat washer, and then the plastic wing nut. Just a hand tight, doesn't have to be that tight at all, just nice and snug. Okay, we're just about ready to put water in this. Make sure that you have the yellow drain plug in, and you have the valve in the off position, which is the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock position. The lid has an O-ring that creates an airtight seal. Now the Critter Cooler is virtually indestructible. You just can't kill a Critter Cooler. I've had rescues and daycare operators tell me how their dogs would destroy my Critter Cooler, and you can listen to a few of their stories on my website, and the Critter Cooler survives. But one thing you'll have to remember: when you're cleaning the Critter Cooler or any other time, make sure that you don't dent the rim of the container, because that would ruin the airtight seal with the big O-ring in the lid. Just put water in it. I haven't put the lid on yet, but even with the valve in the off position, a little water coming out of the valve is absolutely normal. That's not a problem. Let's put the lid on. Okay, let's put the lid on. The lid goes on clockwise like most lids do, but you want to make sure that it goes on flush, and you can tell that by the seal right there. If that's crooked, then it's probably not on flush. Now, one hot tip: you want to make sure that your lid goes on flush all the time. Then turn it counterclockwise for a second. Listen. Do you hear that? That's the threads dropping into place. Now I know it's on flush, and now I just turn it clockwise again. And you snug it up a little bit so that the seal in the lid comes in contact with the edge of the container. You're good to go. I'm going to turn the Critter Cooler on. The water will come out fast at first, and then just stop to a slow glug, 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 and it will stop once it reaches the valve. Just like that. Cleaning the Critter Cooler is as easy as just popping the drain valve and letting the bad water roll out, put the drain valve back in, refresh the bowl. You could use soft scrub, you could do anything you want that front bowl to sanitize it. What I do for the larger container is I'll take some of that Costco antibacterial dish soap, squirt a little in there with a hose, cleans up very nice. The whole thing comes apart. You can put it in the dishwasher if you want. So very, very easy to keep clean. Okay, so what do you do when you're indoors and you still want to drain the critter cooler and clean the water? Well, that's not a problem either. Remember those little food bowls? Remember that drain plug? You turn the water valve to the off position, put the food bowl underneath the drain, drain the water. No problem. Throw out the drooly water, put the valve back, refresh the bowl. Easy. Okay, I wanted to bring your attention to two of the most popular features, optional items that the critter cooler has. When I said the critter cooler was indestructible, there was a little hyphen there, except for the water valve, because little dogs and chewers, they seem to chew up those things. So what I did is I created a heavy-duty water valve, and that's what you're looking at right now. There aren't many dogs that can chew up that. So if you have a kennel, or you're at a daycare, or you have puppies or chewers, you're definitely going to want to get a heavy-duty water valve. Another popular optional item is the thermal cover. It's called the chiller cover. It protects the critter cooler from the heat and the sun. What we do in the summer is we'll freeze a gallon jug of water, plop it into the critter cooler like a big ice cube, cover with the chiller cover, and the water will stay cool all day. Your pets will love it, and it also cuts down on bacteria. Here's another hot tip for daycares. There's going to be a dog that challenges the critter cooler. As soon as you put it in the kennel or the pen or the yard, they're going to say, "Thank you so much for my Christmas present," and they're going to want to knock it over and play with it and do things like that. So what you do initially is you get a bungee cord and you bungee it to a fence or a post, and that will make the critter cooler super stable. The critter cooler was designed to be very sturdy and stable, the way we position the wheels, the center of gravity, especially when it has water in it. But it's virtually impossible to move or knock over with a bungee cord on it. The critter cooler also comes with a version that's a manual feeding station. The containers are airtight, so they're going to keep the food fresh and the insects out. You have all three bowls on the bottom that you can mix and match, put food in some, water in the other, and we have a bonus here. Look what happens when you spin off the top. The manual feeding stations come with a 5-quart stainless steel bowl that insets into the top of the container. So in effect, you have 3 lower bowls that you can use for water or food, and the upper bowl you have a raised, elevated bowl dish. Now on the 6.5 gallon critter cooler, that bowl is 24 inches high. On the 5 gallon critter cooler, the bowl is 21 inches high, and on the 3.5 gallon critter cooler, the bowl is 17 inches high. How cool is that? With the critter cooler manual feeding station, you can just pick up the container and go. Enjoy your critter cooler. Let us know if you need anything at all. 8776-BIG-DOG. And share your critter cooler enthusiasm with your dog friends in your social network. Many people that would love a critter cooler don't even know they exist. And please do not ride the critter cooler.